So cloud computing, cloud don't lose data even in the stormiest night. So what exactly comes in your mind when we say cloud computing? Means computing over the cloud, or we are doing computing in the rainy season when clouds are there, monsoon season. That is cloud computing. Okay, it's none of this. Let me tell you exactly what exactly the cloud computing is. So before moving to the cloud computing, let me show you the agenda which we are covering in this presentation. Okay, so this is the agenda. First one is the exactly that what is the cloud computing, which we will covering first. Then we have on-premise setup. So before understanding the benefits of the cloud computing, we should know what exactly the on-premise setup is. Why we came up with an idea that we should have the cloud computing. Third one is the drawbacks of the on-premise setup. Fourth one, why we need cloud computing, why there was a need that cloud computing is introduced. Then we have benefits of the cloud computing. Then there how many types are there in the cloud computing. Then we have the types of the cloud computing services which are getting used in the cloud computing. Last but not the least, most common cloud providers. So this is the agenda which which we will be covering in our presentation. Okay, let's move ahead. First one is what is cloud computing? So cloud computing is nothing. It is a delivery of computing services, including server, storage, database, networking over the internet. So that means cloud providers are delivering the computing services, IT resources, which include the servers, storage, networking, and software over the internet. We need not to have these things present present physically on our side. This is everything. This is on internet. What we need is just an strong internet. Second, you typically pay only for the cloud service you use, helping lower your operating cost. So this is the benefit which I'll be going to explain in the next slides. But yes, here let me tell you the cloud service is we pay what we use in the cloud service, which helps in lowering our operational cost, infrastructure cost, and we run infrastructure more efficiently. And also it is very flexible, which we will be covering in next slides. Okay, so let's go to the on-premise setup. So first we need to know that what exactly the on-premise setup is. Why there was a need of cloud computing. So here is the answer. So let me tell you first what exactly the on-premise setup is. On-premise data center, it is a group of servers which we privately own in an IT business, in an IT company. These are the servers which we have in the IT company. On-premise setup require in-house server, hardware, software licenses, integration capabilities, and the employees so that we can maintain that. We can maintain all of these hardware things, software licenses. We should maintain that, and we have the group of IT people who support this and manage this so that there should be no potential issues. Everyone know that there is a team so that we our servers should be correct. There should be no potential issues, because if any potential issue come, then no application will run, so everything will be very bad, in very bad situation. Okay, let's move next. Next, we have drawbacks of the on-premise setup. So these are the basic reasons where we introduced cloud computing. So what are the drawbacks? What were the bad points for the on-premise setup? I'll go one by one. First one. On-premise IT business need IT infrastructure to get set up. This we all know. This includes server, a team to handle the infrastructure, including hardware and software maintenance. So as we know, if anyone is running an IT business and we are working as an IT employee in an IT company, we know that there is a separate room, there is a proper IT infrastructure which we need to set up first before we go with an IT business. And what this IT infrastructure include? We include servers, hardwares, softwares, and we have a proper dedicated team which handle that infrastructure, so that this is the core of the IT. Because if any potential threat comes in the server, then our data will be messed up, our data will be corrupted, then there will be nothing. Second point, on-premise IT setup consume a lot of space. As we so we might have went to the IT team where there is a rooms for the servers, and all the team which are sitting near the IT servers maintaining those things. So yes, they need a lot of space. So there is a proper server, proper space where all the servers are kept, and there is a proper space where the team is sitting which handles the hardware and the software of the server. So this consume a lot of space. Third point, this is much costlier as company needs to buy their own servers and pay for a team which is appointed for maintenance of the same. Exactly correct. So this is much costlier because we need to buy our servers. So servers are very costlier. We need to buy that before running any IT company, before running any business. We need to have the servers which we need to buy, so that our data should be saved in the server and it should be secure. And for that we have a proper team which is looking for that server, which is looking for the maintenance of the hardware and the software. Right, I guess we all know this. Fourth one, we have a poor data security, because data security is, it is, the data is not much secure in the on-premise setup rather than in the cloud computing. Less chance of data recovery. For example, there is a disaster and we have a company set up in one location. There is a disaster and there is an issue in the servers. So there are chances that our data might get lost. So if that happens, so there is very less chance that we can recover our data properly. Properly means we can recover our data 100%. So there is very less chance. Second last point, lack of flexibility. So with the flexibility means scale up and scale down. So we have a server, right? We have a server and our IT team is working. We have the application running on those servers. For example, uh, in those server we have a limited amount of IT resources. Okay, so these servers say that okay, only uh, we can only check up to this much of the traffic on the application. What happens that on any time the traffic increases on the application or on the software application, then the servers will get slow. They will not be able to align the proper IT resources to that traffic, which will what will happen then? It will go very slow. The IT can also the application can also ramp down with the traffic. So there is very less flexibility to that also. I'll be explaining this scale up and scale up thing in the next slides also, where we will be discussing the cloud computing. Auto. Okay. So last but not the least, we have a point that data cannot be accessed remotely. That means if an IT company is set up in one location, then software or any application running on that server that can be accessed on their network only, and we cannot access that everywhere. If, for example, if we are sitting in Chandigarh or Delhi and we want to access that application for the IT company which is located in Delhi or in Chandigarh, we cannot access their data out of the Delhi or out of their premises. So these are the drawbacks of the on-premise setup. These are the reasons why we introduce cloud computing. So I'll go to the next slide. So I hope we are on the same page. Okay. Moving to the next slide, we have why we need cloud computing and not on-premise setup. First point, as we know that for on-premise setup, an IT infrastructure was needed and there was a team who was needed to maintain that IT infrastructure. But for here, no setup is needed and no team is needed for maintaining any setup. As we know, cloud computing is handled over the internet. So every setup is provided by the cloud provider, and we need not to have any setup in our company. And if there is no setup, then definitely we don't need any team to maintain that setup. So this is a very good point. Second point, no space is needed as everything is on internet. As I mentioned in my previous point that no setup is needed. We need not to have the servers, no infrastructure, no team is needed. So definitely our space is free now. We do not need any space for this setup because everything is on internet. We just need an internet connection. Third one, less cost. So how the cost is less? Definitely, it is self-explanatory that we do not need any server. We need not to buy any server. We need not to pay for the team which is looking for the servers or whole IT infrastructure or any software maintenance, any hardware maintenance. We need not to have that team. We not need not to have that server. So definitely there is no cost. So cloud computing is less costlier than the on-premise setup. Next point, high data security. As we know that the cloud providers, they have their own set of policies, their softwares are up to date, their hardwares are up to date. So this makes our data more secure rather than on-premise setup. Next point, data recovery. So data recovery is very better than on-premise setup because it is something which is not there in our company. It is handled by the third party. For example, any disaster happen, we can recover our data in very well manner, and it will be 100% data. We just need to download our data from the cloud provider, from the servers of the cloud provider. So it is very good that we have our data back, which is the backbone of our IT company data. So our data should be safe. More flexibility. So with the cloud computing, we can scale up and scale down the IT resources of the server. So cloud computing provide us the flexibility that you can use our IT resources whenever there is a need, else you can pay for that much only. So which is a very great point of the cloud computing, that it is more flexible than our on-premise setup. Okay. Last point is data can be accessed remotely from anywhere. So what we need is we just need an internet connection and we can access that data from anywhere. We are using the cloud computing now also. We can access it from everywhere. We just need an internet connection and we can access that application, the software application, or our whole IT infrastructure. We can access remotely from everywhere. Okay. So I think we are on the same page till now, that why we need cloud computing. Now we have the another slide where I'm going to tell you what are the top benefits of the cloud computing. So first one is the cost, which I already mentioned in the previous slides also, that we do not need to have our own servers. We need not to have the IT team to maintain that servers, the software of that server, the hardware of that server. And also we know that we need electricity to power on the server. And also you might have seen the server rooms. It is very cool, means it is very cold. So ACs are there because we need to maintain a temperature for the server. It should be very cool. So definitely there is an electricity for that ACs which are running. So the cost is more. The electricity cost is also there. IT experts are there which are managing that infrastructure. So this increase our cost directly or indirectly. This increase our cost. So, but in cloud computing, we need not to have these things, no electricity, no servers, no electricity power to switch on the server or ACs or any IT thing. So definitely our cost become very low there. Second thing is global scale. What, what is the global scale? The benefits of the cloud computing service include the ability to scale elastically. How we can do, how we can scale elastically. So this is done by delivering the right amount of the IT resources as per the need. Means, for example, more or less computing power, storage, bandwidth, whenever it is needed. So for example, there is an application. We are running a software, right? So for example, in that software, the traffic is high on the daytime. In the daytime, the traffic is very high. But in the night, the traffic is very low. So what cloud computing say is, so you can use our IT resources more in the daytime and less in the nighttime. So you can pay more in the daytime and less in the nighttime. So by this, we can scale up and scale down our IT resources due to this advantage of the cloud computing. Third one, performance. Okay, the biggest cloud computing service run on the worldwide network and secure data center. So those are upgraded regularly with the latest software, latest hardware, and everything is latest, which makes its performance very better than on-premise setup. We need not to worry about those things. Cloud providers do these things for us. Okay. The fourth point, we have the security. Many cloud providers offer a broad set of policies, which I also mentioned in my previous slide. They offer broad set of policies, technologies, and controls which protect our data. How? Because they have their own set of policy. Their hardware is very latest. Their software is very latest. They have every set of software license which is upgraded, which makes our data more secure, which makes our apps, which makes our IT thing more secure rather than having a infrastructure on premise. So there should be no potential threats for our data if we use cloud computing. Okay. Fifth point, we have the productivity. As we know that, okay, so let's take an example. There is no cloud computing and we need to run an IT company or in any IT business. We Firstly, what we need to take and do is we need to have the servers. We have to check if all the servers are up to date, every hardware setup is there, and team is working fine or not. And this is something we need to take care of these things in on a priority manner. right? But with the cloud computing, we need not to worry about this thing. We need not to think for this. This is handled by the cloud computing and the cloud provider. What we need to do is we just need to focus on our IT business rather than on the servers, that how it is, how these are getting handled. Is there any potential threat to our server or not? This is very time consuming. This is very means time wasting. So why we need to do this when we have the cloud computing? So cloud providers say we are doing this for you. You just focus on your business goals, and if we will focus on our business goal, definitely it will increase our productivity, right? Next, we have reliability. So cloud computing make data backup, data recovery, and business continuity easy and less expensive. As we know that if there is any disaster, our data is safe on the cloud provider end. We need not to worry about this thing. This make cloud computing more reliable than anything else, because the main thing in the IT industry is the data. Everything which we are doing, we if we are spending money, everything which we are doing for only data, so that our data should be secure from any potential threat, and it should be recovered. If anything happens, it should be recovered. So definitely cloud provider or cloud computing make this thing more reliable as they recover our data properly. So these are the top benefits of the cloud computing over on premise setting. I hope uh, this is understood. Okay, let's move to the next slide. Okay, here is an interesting question. So I want you to just answer few questions. I'll be sending this link in the chat so that you can answer this. Let me. Hima, can you please ping this link in the chat so that everyone can go with this quiz and answer? Okay, so I think we have a quite good chunk of the numbers. Okay, let me tell you question by question that how much percentage of person think that we are agree or disagree. Okay, the first question was, do you think that data such as photos should be stored in iCloud, Google Drive? So the result is as expected, 96.7% of person thinks that yes, it should be stored in iCloud or Google Drive, because they know that it is very easy to recover data from iCloud and Google Drive. Okay. Okay, this is interesting. Cloud computing reduces IT expenses. That means whatever I'm explaining, you are getting it, because 100% is the audience which agree with me. Yes, the cloud computing reduces IT expenses. That's great. Thank you so much. Okay. Next question was, recovery of data in cloud computing is more easier and efficient. So yes, 100% of the audience is with me. Okay. Next, I have asked the question, do you think that data in cloud computing is more secure? So 90.3 percentage of people think yes, it is more secure than on-premise setting. Okay. The last question was, the cloud computing is easier to use rather than setting up an IT infrastructure. Yes, 100% of the person think yes, it is an easier. So that means, so you are with me. Okay, let's move on this slide then. Okay, so next we have the types of the cloud computing. So we have the three types of the cloud computing. First one is the public cloud, second one private cloud, third one is the hybrid cloud. I'll go one by one. Public cloud. So the public cloud is defined as the computing services which is offered by party providers, which we all know, which are called cloud providers, over the public internet. So it is available for everyone and anyone who want to use. What you need is just to purchase it and you are good to go and you can use it. So public cloud is publicly to everyone. So you can use, everyone can use it. But just you need an internet connection and you need to purchase as per their cost as per the cloud provider. Second, they may be free or sold on demand, allowing customer to pay only as per the usage for the CPU cycle, storage, bandwidth. So we know that what we need from the cloud provider, the storage, the bandwidth, the CPU cycle, the IT resources. But the best part is you will pay only for those which you are using, not for the everything. So, okay, so you use this much amount, then you have to pay for this thing only. So, which is the best part of the cloud computing and which is also the uh, cost cutting thing. Public clouds can also be deployed faster than on-premise infrastructure. So, I think this statement is self-explanatory that we do not need any setup for the public cloud. So it can be set up anytime and it is more faster. It can be deployed more faster than on-premise setup because an on-premise setup, which I mentioned earlier, we need servers, we need team and everything should be on place and also electricity, ACs, all that stuff. Accessible to everyone, every employee of the company which whosoever is using the internet, every employee of the company can use the same application from any place, not from the office only, from any place, from any branch of the office, using their device, whatever the device is, and they can use it from everywhere, which gives us to do these things remotely. And I think which is the best part. So let me tell you what are the examples of the public cloud, the providers which are giving this facility: AWS, Amazon Web Service, Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud. So these are the example of the public cloud. Next, we have the private cloud. So the private cloud is defined as a computer service offered even on the internet or on our private internal network to make it private and only to the selected user. So the private cloud is not accessible to everyone. It is accessible to the some specific people who has been given access for that, and also it runs on the private network of the company. Second point, private cloud computing give businesses more benefits including self-service, scalability, elasticity, also with additional control and customization available. As this is a private cloud, so we are owning a private cloud, so definitely it gives us the services like self-service, scalability, we can scale up and scale down as per our need, elasticity. Also we have additional controls and customization which we can do, which IT company can do who owns that private cloud. So it's on their hand how they need to have the additional control and how they can customize it because they are going for it. Third, private cloud provides a high level of security and privacy to data through firewalls and internal hosting. So as we know, this is a private cloud. It is not accessible to anyone else. Only few members or a few person from the company have the access to that private cloud. So definitely they have more data security. Plus they have the firewalls and internal hosting, which give add-ons to the more security for the private cloud providers. So we have a few examples which I need to tell you uh, for the private cloud. HP data centers, Microsoft, Elastra private cloud, and Ubuntu. So these are the example of the private cloud. Okay. Moving next, we have a hybrid cloud. So, so name only suggested that what exactly the hybrid is. Hybrid is the combination of the two things. So here what it means is hybrid cloud, sometimes called a cloud hybrid. It is a combination or computing environment that combines private cloud and public cloud. So private cloud and public cloud are in sync, which is called hybrid cloud. So it allows data and application to get shared between both of these public and private, which makes it hybrid. Second, when computing and processing demand increases beyond a private cloud capabilities, then you can switch with the public cloud instantly to scale up or scale down. For example, you have a private cloud. You have own, okay, this much of the IT resources you have own in a private cloud from the cloud vendor. Okay. And what happens then on your website, the traffic increases more than the capability of your private cloud. Then what will you do? Then private and public will be in sync, and you can use the public cloud also to handle that traffic. You can allocate the IT resources from the public cloud, such as storage capacity, networking, software from the public, and you can handle that traffic easily. So this is a very good use of the hybrid cloud. So let me go down few examples of the hybrid cloud. First one is AWS Outpost. Second, Azure Stack, Azure Arc, Google Anthos, and VMware Cloud on AWS. So these are the examples of the hybrid cloud. So these are the types of the clouds which we are getting from our cloud providers. So I'm assuming that we are on the same page and everyone can relate this thing. Okay, so let's go next. Okay, now we have the type of the cloud services which we are using with these clouds, with these types. One is IaaS, infrastructure as a service. Then we have PaaS, platform as a service. Then we have SaaS, software as a service. Okay, let's go to next slide so that I can explain all these. Okay, firstly, we have IaaS. So as I mentioned, IaaS stands for infrastructure as a service. Second, with IaaS, what you can do? You can rent IT infrastructure, which includes server, virtual machine, storage, networks, operating system from the cloud provider only. You need not to have anything. You can rent whole IT infrastructure from the cloud provider, and you need not to worry about that thing. That okay, which machines I need, which hardware I need, how much storage capacity, how much server I need. So you need not to worry about that. So you have the cloud provider, and whatever you will use, you will pay for that only. That's why it is called pay as you go basis. Third point, IaaS solution helps you to reduce the maintenance of on-premise data center. So we can save money because we need not to have the on-premise data center. We not need not to have our own servers, no team to handle that servers, which I mentioned in my previous slide. So definitely this is very time consuming, so we need not to worry about that. And also we can gain our real time business. We can focus on our actual business rather than worrying about that what will be our servers, how much of the capacity should be there, storage, network thing, all these things we need not to worry about. Okay, fourth point, IaaS solution gives you the flexibility to scale your IT resources up and down with demand. So I think this is already I have mentioned, and this is clear to you guys because I have already mentioned that we can scale up as per the traffic, we can scale down as per the traffic, and we have to pay for that only. That's it. Okay, examples. Amazon EC2, Rackspace, Windows Azure, Google Computing Engine. So these are the example for IaaS. Now we have PaaS. PaaS stand for Platform as a Service. So platform as a service refer to a cloud computing service that supply an on-demand environment to develop an application, to test an application, to build an application, and to run an application, software application. So it is mostly used by the developers and the IT persons. PaaS is designed to make it easier for developer to quickly create web mobile app without worrying about the setting up or managing the infrastructure. As you know, if we need to develop any software, any application, we should have proper set of infrastructure. For example, we should have the proper software, we should have the proper database, we should have the proper network, we should have the proper server, right? And their whole setup should be in sync, then only we can develop it. But we need not to worry about that, because PaaS give us the facility that it is already there. What you need to do is just come and create the application, build it and run it. That's it. It makes it so much of easiness. PaaS allows you to avoid the expense and complexity of the buying and managing the software license, underlying the application infrastructure and the development tools. As we know we need the development tools also, and we need the software licenses which are very expensive. As we If we need any software license, that is very expensive, and to run and to create the application we need these things. But for PaaS we do not need these things, because cloud providers also already have these things. We just need to create the application and run it. What we need to do is we should have the proper internet connection. That's it. Okay, let's move on the examples. We have AWS Elastic Beanstalk, Google App Engine, Red Hat OpenShift. So this is something where we can build our application with any language, Java, .NET, and we can run it on the PS platform. Okay, so let me go over quickly. I think we are shortage of time. Let me go more quickly over the SAS. So SaaS stand for software as a service. Software as a service is a method which delivers software application and cloud-based application over the internet on demand. Demanded, it is there as per your demand, and typically on the subscription basis. I'll give you the real-time examples also, which I think most of you will be using. You rent the use of an app and just pay for that thing only, and you connect it over the internet, usually with the web browser or with the application also. So you just need to go to the web browser and type the URL, and you are there to use that software application, or you can directly go with the applications also to use it. With SaaS, cloud provider host and manage the software application and underlying infrastructure, including hardware, and handle any maintenance like software upgrades. So this is not our thing now, because if we are having the cloud providers, they take care of these things. Any hardware maintenance is needed, any software maintenance is needed, any software upgrade, security patching, they all are done by the cloud provider, and we need not to worry about these things. We just need to go there and do whatever we want to do on demand. Let me show you the examples so you might be knowing this. So first one is Netflix. We all know we use Netflix, right? So what Netflix do? They give us the provide us the licensed videos on demand, which we can uh, which we can see on the Netflix. So, but it is subscription based model. We have to take the subscription, means monthly I need to pay or I need to pay annually. That subscription we have to pay, and yes, you are good to go to watch the videos. Second, Amazon Prime, the same thing. Sell software to watch licensed videos on demand, anywhere, from any location, anywhere, on whatever the devices, you can do that. Dropbox, where we can access our files. We can save our files, upload our files in the Dropbox, and we can access it everywhere. We need not to worry about that, yes, our data will be lost. Google Drive. I think everyone know Google Drive, where we can upload our files. iCloud, where we can have our iPhone files, photos, etc. We can save and access there from everywhere. So this is something, this is the independence that we can do from everywhere, anywhere. We can access this. That's it. Okay. Last but not the least, I want to tell you the common cloud providers which are there in the market. So I think most of these you might be knowing, but let me go it one by one. First one is AWS, second Microsoft Azure, IBM Cloud, VMware, Google Google Cloud Platform, and DigitalOcean. So these are the cloud providers which are there. So yes, any questions? So this is all from my side. Thank you. I'll go on mute.
Thank you for the session, sir. It was very interactive one. Thank you for all the information.
Thank you. Okay, if you still think you will be having a query, you can also email me. Okay, so Chandan, so you can opt for any cloud provider. You can go for the AWS, you can go for the VMware. So you can opt for any cloud provider. Okay, so we are shortage of time. Thank you for being a nice audience. Thank you so much. If you think you have any question, do email me. I'll be happy to help. Thank you, guys.